Brandon Miller is one of the players in this draft that I'm most confident in working out in the NBA. His skill set is one that's coveted by the league, a 6'9" wing that can space the floor, pass, and defend. This baseline skill set gives him one of the highest floors in the draft. However, while I'm not as high on Miller as others, I just don't see some of the comparisons he gets, and I don't think he's a top 2 guy in this class. I still think he is a very good prospect and a lock for the top 4 in this class in my opinion. I made videos like this about my top 2 players in the class, Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson, and today I'm going to be doing the same with Brandon Miller. I'll be going over my projections for what I think he can be in the NBA when it comes to his rookie season, as well as his potential peak. Before we can talk about projections, we have to talk about what Brandon Miller is as a prospect. Miller is a 6'9" wing who played his freshman season at Alabama. He's the only freshman this season to make a consensus All-American team. He's the first freshman to win SEC Player of the Year since Malik Monk, the first freshman to outright win SEC Player of the Year since Anthony Davis, and the first non-Kentucky freshman to win SEC Player of the Year since Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf in 1989. Miller is an elite three-point shooter and a good secondary passer with good feel. He's also a great POA defender, and he just fits the mold of the modern-day wing. I wouldn't say he's the Jason Tatum, Paul George, Brandon Ingram type player some people believe he is. His handle and finishing ability aren't quite on the level of those guys, but he's still a great prospect with a high ceiling regardless of that. I do think he has room to grow as a creator, but I don't think he'll ever quite be on the primary creation level that will make him the go-to scoring option on a contender. As far as role goes, he projects more to be a high-end number 2 than a true number 1. As far as rookie seasons go, one thing that will be key for Miller is playing off of guys that can create for themselves and or generate scoring gravity. Luckily for him, his draft range almost guarantees that he will end up on a team with one player or multiple players that fit either of those descriptions. LaMelo Ball in Charlotte, Dame or Simons, although I do have questions about Simons' ability to use counters in Portland, Jalen Green to a certain extent with his rim pressure in Houston, and Cade Cunningham in Detroit. I do think Miller can find some level of success without that on an NBA roster as a rookie, but it would be more ideal for him to play alongside a player that can create on the ball and or draw scoring gravity. As far as rookie projections go, I see Miller putting up around 14.2 points per game, 4.9 rebounds per game, 2.1 assists per game, on 44.7, 38.5, 82 shooting splits. I think he will definitely have games where it's evident that he struggles based off his flaws as a player, similar to Jabari Smith Jr. as a rookie, but I think Miller is actually slightly ahead of Jabari Smith in some key areas on the ball. So I don't think he will struggle as much as Jabari did as a rookie, but I do think that he'll definitely have games where it's like he really isn't able to get to the basket the way he wants to, or create the way he wants to. Regardless of that, I do think Miller is a candidate to contribute right away, just based off his 3-point shooting ability and point of attack defense. But he also is someone that has upside, which is why I think it's a safe pick to make for the Blazers if they don't know what they're doing moving forward by the time the draft rolls around. I also do think this is a player that fits well with the Magic, Pacers, or Thunder, and I think that those teams should consider trying to move up because he would fit those teams very well. Now, in terms of his potential peak, I could see Brandon Miller at his absolute best if everything goes right with his development, putting up around 25.4 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game, 4.3 assists per game, on 48.3, 42.2, 87.6 shooting splits, a fringe All-NBA guy, and a consistent All-Star, as well as the perfect complement to a superstar as a second option. I think his role projects to be one that's similar to what Jaylen Brown is now, And I know that Jaylen Brown, his reputation isn't great, especially considering what happened in the conference finals where he was awful. We've seen the stories about basically Caleb Martin saying that the plan was to force Jaylen Brown to dribble and try and get him to go left. But regardless of that, I don't think that takes away from the fact that Jaylen Brown is a really good player that can put up an efficient 25 plus points per game in a season and has proven that he can be the number 2 option on a team that goes to the finals and potentially wins a title. And someone that's a borderline All-NBA level performer despite what some may think. And a good complement to a superstar that can play on and off the ball. That's the ceiling for Brandon Miller in my opinion. Somebody that can put up really good scoring numbers, but may not be the number 1 option on a team. And when you combine that ceiling with a floor of a guy that can space the floor, no pun intended, as well as be a really good point of attack defender and good passer within the flow of the offense, that's a ceiling floor combination that's worthy of a top 3 to 5 pick. Brandon Miller is a player I have been very vocal about not being as high as others are on him, but I still really like him as a prospect. He is a great prospect. He has a baseline skill set that almost guarantees him to find levels of success in the NBA that will keep him in the league for, at the very least, a second contract, as well as the feel and intangibles to reach stardom in the NBA. I have questions about his handle, space creation off the bounce, and finishing ability based off what I've seen on tape. But I also think that Miller has improved in a very encouraging way. When you compare his high school tape to his freshman season at Alabama tape, it's like watching 2 different players. In a year, he has shown so much improvement. He went from a mediocre shooter in high school to having one of the best 3-point shooting seasons we have ever seen from a freshman in college. He went from an inconsistent defender in high school to one of the better point of attack defenders in the draft. He's become more consistent with his scoring aggression. He went from an all-around versatile guy in high school that could score but it wasn't the focal point to an upper echelon scoring option in college that was an All-American and the only freshman to make an All-American team. These improvements are why I don't hold his age against him. Yes, he is older for a freshman. He will be 21 in his rookie season. But at the same time, 21 is not an age where your development stops. You still have a ton of room to grow. We just saw Keegan Murray go top 4 in his draft, and he was older than Miller is as a prospect. That pick is one that has seemed to pay off. Keegan Murray just had the greatest 3-point shooting season by a rookie in NBA history. So, to act like he can't be like this great player because he's going to be a bit older in the league at 21 years old as a rookie, that just doesn't seem right or fair. On top of that, the improvements Miller has made are already super encouraging. It's not a guarantee that he reaches superstar heights. Based off what I've seen on tape, I don't really see a future superstar, and I personally wouldn't bet on it. But the improvements he has made from high school to college make me look at him as a prospect the same way I did with Jaylen Brown, or in hindsight, have with Tyrese Halliburton. Because those two have made improvements in the league that mirror the improvements that Miller made from high school to college. And one of the most valuable things I've learned about evaluating talent is when you see noticeable improvement trends in the development process, you have to keep in your mind that the prospect you are watching, no matter what you see, the limitations they have, the areas they need to work on, what they do well, what they don't do well, you have to keep in mind that despite all of that, they could absolutely end up being miles better than your evaluation says they will be and make you look foolish because they just have these outlier development trends. Now, you don't bet on outlier development trends because outlier development trends are outlier for a reason. But it is a possibility you have to keep in your mind because you're not always going to be right. And sometimes these prospects end up being way better than you think, and they make you look foolish. And I want Brandon Miller to make me look foolish. I would love to be wrong and him to be even better than a fringe All-NBA guy like I think he can be, because I want to see as many great players as possible. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, I'm notified whenever I release a video. I'm making videos about basketball all the time, so if that's something that interests you. If you really think you enjoy this channel, and liking and subscribing are the two best ways you can help me out. Helps support the channel, helps me out the YouTube algorithm so more people find my videos, so in turn helps the channel grow so I can make more content for you guys consistently in the future. Let me know what you think about Brandon Miller in the comment section below. How good do you think he will be? What team do you want to draft him? I'll do all of that in the comment section. Let's try to get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. And I just want to thank you guys for a great May. It was an incredible month, the best month I've ever had on YouTube, specifically on this channel. So the support was incredible. I can't thank you guys enough for that. And let's try and make June an even bigger month. Let's try to have an even better one. Each month on YouTube in 2023 has surpassed the last as the best month on this channel. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.